Josefsky here, coming in. Ultima dia. After dva meseci in Bosnia. Last day after 2 months in Bosnia. Last live in Bosnia, certainly of 2024. Possibly ever. Who knows? Who knows what 2025 holds? So yeah, I just wanted to make a mental note on my final day. I've already done a video, which I'll upload as well, but I wanted to make a final note, and also I wanted to avoid packing because it's boring. So I thought I'd do a live. So I've got a couple of notes. You've got a couple of notes on this whole period. Final thoughts on Bosnia, and then also final thoughts on a year, essentially a year of cold approach, calendar year of cold approach, Jan to December. So I'm about of daytime approach. I'm kind of like, what am I now? 17 months in or something like that to transferring over to daytime approach. And so yeah, so let's review Bosnia first of all. So I arrived here 2 months ago to the day, basically. I've stayed on the eastern side of Sarajevo. The first month was in a place called Dobrinja, which is a lovely, tranquil neighborhood, an old neighborhood actually, on the eastern side of Sarajevo. And the second month has been in a place called Lukovica, which is also the eastern side. It just basically, you just cross the road from Dobrinja, and you're right on the far eastern side of the city. And actually, technically, you're actually in a place called Republika Srpska. You're on the Serbian side, which is, as far as I understand, it's a different territory. It's all a little bit confusing, to be honest. But as far as I understand, it's a different territory. So I've spent the second month over this side, over on the Serbian side. And I've just enjoyed both sides, to be honest with you. Both Dobrinja and Lukovica, very quiet, very chill. A good place to come and work. That's a lot of my priority. You know, is the area a good place to work from? Is the area a good place to work from? East Sarajevo is great. It's low cost. It's completely peaceful. You've got great internet, great electricity, great everything, to be honest, both in Lukovica and in Dobrinja. It's honestly one of the best spots I've been to for work. And sometimes in the day, Dobrinja was a little bit almost ghoulish. You know, it feels quite phantom-like sometimes in the day. It's very, that first part, yeah, Dobrinja is very kind of sparsely populated in a sense, although it kind of isn't and it is at the same time. The streets are almost too wide and big for the population, so it feels very sparse, but there are people in the streets, but the streets are just way too wide. SB, how are you, brother? Awesome, you could join. Eerie is what I would say about Dobrinja. Yeah, eerie is what I would say. Yeah, there's just something slightly off about it. But I don't know. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I could have stayed here I could have stayed if I hadn't planned to go to Istanbul for Christmas, which was always my plan. My plan was to start in Serbia and just somehow end up in Istanbul by Christmas. That was the plan. If I'd not planned to do that, I'd happily stay around this area, kick off the new year here, you know, or maybe go somewhere else, go up to Banja. You know, I've been pretty content here for the most part. So yeah, I've got very positive things to say. I put on a previous video, there's the smoking. Yeah, the smoking both in Dobrinja, Sarajevo Central, and then also Republika Srpska. That's one thing that even as a foreigner, it's a slight. I've just accepted it, but it's a slight frustration. I wish I could go out and not every single place I go to completely be, you know, fumigated with smoke every time I go out. It's like going back into 1970s. The guys, even in the gym, these like big guys in the gym. I'll see them smoking straight after a workout, and I'm just thinking, dude, are you demented? Um, so yeah, and to me I said this in a previous video. To me, the smoking speaks to something. To me, that speaks to an internal frustration that those people probably don't even fully understand. It's a kind of dulling of the spirit. It's like you're frustrated and you want more, but you can't. You've also accepted you're not going to get more, so you may as well just smoke. Um, and I'm talking about cigarettes here. I'm not talking about marijuana, which obviously people in Sarajevo do smoke weed, not as much as other places, not as much as like in some countries you can just smell it everywhere. You do smell it a bit in Sarajevo, but not that much. But to me, the smoking it speaks to something bad in the spirit. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, addiction. Um, and I think the gambling addiction as well. Here, there's lots of all these betting shops. Again, that speaks to something slightly stunted in the spirit of people, which I think is a real thing. I think is a real thing here. Um, I've been in countries where literally nobody smokes. Nobody smokes. And they're very expressive kind of places. So the culture here, I like it. There's something I like about it, but I think there's also something a little bit unhealthy as well. And I say the same thing about the UK. I think the UK is actually possibly even more unhealthy. So I'm not like picking at Bosnia particularly. Um, yeah, I think it needs I think the Balkans could do with a little bit of reinvigorating. Yeah, Turkish taxi drivers. I'm heading to Turkey tomorrow. But yeah, it's there's like an inner frustration that you're not really a man. You're just fucking droning your way. You're a drone basically, and and maybe the women feel the same as well. But I'm just speaking for the men's point of view. You're not really a man in any way, or you're not enough of the man that you should be. Frustrated on an instinctive level, and so you fall into vice. You fall into vice. Yeah. I think the Arabs are. I mean, they all smoke. They chain smoke, dude. The Arabs chain smoke. I wonder if that's maybe. Is there even a genetic component to that? Do some people have like a genetic like, as soon as they hit tobacco, nicotine, it does something to their brain. Their brain is more reactive to it. I don't know. Um, yeah. So, but then also, maybe there is something on the Arab side, like those Arab empires, man, were fucking. Those Muslim empires, man, were fucking brutal. Were absolutely fucking brutal. Come on. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I do wonder if like Islam as well, this massively oppressive culture over you. There are good sides to it as well, but I do wonder if that suppresses both men and women more, and they feel more of a desire to smoke. Um, I've been reading the book. What was it under the what was it called? The Bridge of Drina, whatever it's called. The guy won the Nobel Prize. SB, you know about this book. Where is it? Bridge, Bridge on the Drina by Ivo Andrić. Um, and there's a section, the early part of the book where it talks about the Ottoman rule of Bosnia, and just basically like there were points where it's so barbaric, like it's just so barbaric, it's just kind of unbelievable. This guy gets crucified early in the book, which is sorry, not crucified. The guy gets skewered. He gets impaled, which is like that. This part of the world was really big on impaling, which um, it wasn't as big in the Western Europe, but it was massive in around here, Bulgaria. Um, so yeah, all of that brutality overlaid over the millennia, over the centuries. Does that do something to the culture as opposed to other parts of the world? Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and then you go even deeper into the history. The people in the Balkans physiologically, they're descendants from the steppe. They're descendants from the Yamnaya, who were the most. They basically were the first warrior class who swept all the way from Ukraine. They swept east all the way to Japan, and they swept west all the way to Ireland. So it's the most. It's the most. It's the most successful warrior people, and they went for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they infiltrated all these different populations. They were the first people to get on horseback, and go around. And actually, the Balkans has got a massive amount of blood from that people, that warlike people. And so, like, I think you can even see it in them as well. I think, like, physiologically, there's a lot of very impressive people here. But I wonder, like, are they kind of like, are they like suppressed warlords? Do you know what I mean? Are they like caged lions? These people here, because really, their ancestors really were the ultimate uber beasts of history. So that's also like just an interesting question as well. How packed in detail? Yeah, it's incredibly detailed, dude. The book's incredibly detailed. I love it. The translation is really good as well. It's really good. 3 pages in, I was like, oh, I'm dealing with a masterpiece. It's a for sure it's a masterpiece. Like I was debating whether to come on and do a live or whether to read that book. I'll read the book afterwards. I'll read it on the plane and stuff tomorrow. But why do I think it's the past and not the present that's affecting people? Because the past is what the past is what forms the culture. The past is what forms the culture. So whatever country you're in is formed by centuries, centuries and centuries. So yeah, obviously you're affected by the present, but yeah, it's formed by centuries of culture. That's the way I view it. That's been my experience as well. Like, why is Turkey different to the UK? Well, its history is different. That's why. Why is the USA different to Indonesia? It's because it's got a different history, and the people are respond to that culture, and that's how we're raised and stuff. Yeah. Um, so yeah, if you understand the history, you understand the culture, everything makes a lot more sense, or it can make a lot more sense. And obviously, these countries they were under communism, then they were under this massive, ridiculous Yugoslav war. Then Bosnia got hit again with a civil war. So it's just like a kind of constant thing. So it's not surprising they're not exactly, like they're just a little bit more muted compared to other places. That's probably in the culture. And then obviously there's the Islamic influence as well. But it's fairly minor. It's fairly minor. It's just like they're not as like, for example, you go to like Santo Domingo or something where everyone is super happy all the time. It's just not like that. But that doesn't mean they're like bad people, that they're necessarily miserable. It's just more muted. So yeah, so that's been Bosnia. Anything else? What have the positives been? Positives been it's low cost of living, which is good. But actually for like a decent standard of living, my apartment is a complete shit tip at the moment. But like this is a decent little apartment and it cost me nothing, dude. It cost me nothing. I've got an amazing view out the window as well. Like everything's like spick and span, really nice bathroom. Everything is just perfectly how you'd want it to be. Feels a bit like a hospital room, but apart from that, it's been perfect. Because I work online, like it's yeah, everything's been consistent, internet, electricity, everything's been sorted. So low cost. Um, I like the fact you can always see the mountains in Bosnia as well. I like the fact in Sarajevo, every time I look out the window, I can see the mountains one way. Every time I go out into the street, I see the mountains on both sides of the city. So the city is almost in a valley. Well, it is in a valley with a river running through it. And then on one side you've got mountains, on the other side you've got mountains, just surrounded by mountains. It's really beautiful. So yeah, that's been awesome. The just natural beauty, the fact I can see greenery everywhere. That for me, I feel that I really enjoy that. I just really enjoy it. It's beautiful. It's one of the things I hated about some of the cities I've lived in, which are just concrete jungles. I find it really soulless and depressing and like crushing of the human spirit. So to be around like nature is really good. Um, Mostly the people have been really good, to be honest. Mostly people have been really cool. Mostly people have been really cool. It's obviously on me to make the first move in all my conversations and stuff like that, but people have been really cool. Um, and anything else? What other good things have we had out here? I love the history of it. I love seeing more of Europe, seeing these slightly. It's not. it's obviously very important historically, but it's not considered that way in a sense in Western Europe. We're a bit arrogant, but like the First World War started here, you know. This is one of the great, you know, meeting points between Ottoman and Orthodox and Christian civilization. It happened, you know, in Bosnia. So yeah, there's loads of history here. So that I love that. That's really cool. Um, loads of good coffee shops. Loads of good coffee shops here. Um, nice women, attractive women here as well. Pretty interesting place to do cold approach to speak to like you know Mac girls in the street and stuff. Bosnia is definitely an interesting place to do it. It's definitely a good learning curve. Um, what else have we done? Good place to shoot. Shooting range is fucking amazing. Like down and dirty. That's how I like it. Down and dirty shooting range. So that was great. Um, and I feel like there's more I could have done here. I could have gone out more into the mountains and that type of thing. Because I was doing a lot of trying to do a lot of social stuff at weekends more. I thought if I need to go out and make myself social at weekends. Otherwise, if I go out into the mountains at weekends, then I'm in my room on my laptop all week. Then I really am being antisocial. Um, yes, this is dissatisfaction, resignation, nothing changes. Give me nicotine. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I think, Chrissy, as well. Yeah, that's exactly my analysis there. Um, of why people smoke. Um, what else has been good in Bosnia? I mentioned the coffee shops, the glorious coffee shops. I actually think it's going to sound ridiculous, but like some of the these are the best protein bars I've ever had. The Bosnian protein bars. I've actually asked around, like, where do you guys get these from? They're so good. And oh, they're imported from Slovenia. So Slovenia produces the best protein bars in the world. So that's definitely a positive. Um, what else? Good shops and stuff as well. I did a bit of shopping a few weeks ago. Just getting some just gear basically. I've got what I actually I bought quite a bit of stuff here. I bought a pair of like winter type of boots, you know, for the snow and stuff, and then some more. I'm getting obsessed with this brand called what's it called? Alpha something. Alpha Industries. They've actually got like really quite good urban type of gear. So yeah, I got some stuff. Um, so yeah, good shops. Anything else? Anything else? Be positive. It's all been good, to be honest. Considering it's midwinter in Europe, and I'm a complete stranger coming into a new country. You know, I don't know anybody at all. It's been a sweet experience. It's been a sweet experience. I never expect the red carpet to be rolled out to me anywhere, but this has been sweet. Um, Gym's been great as well. Gym's been really good gym here. Um, so yeah, so that's been all the positives really, and I mean, very few negatives. I think I had a wobble on Sunday night because I was just often people have quite stoic, nondescript faces here. Like their expression is kind of like, well, even more depressed than that. It's more like, I can't even do it. My face won't do it. My face is too cheery. But and I was on the bus on Sunday night. I'm coming back home, and there was just like I was looking around. I was like, man, these people are fucking miserable, dude. They're miserable. Life is pretty good. Like life is not that bad. You know, all things considered. Like, you know, this is a beautiful city. I know probably people thinking about finances and all that type of thing, but life is pretty good. And you know, nothing. We're not in the Ukraine right now, right? We're not in East Timor. Like things are actually pretty solid. And I just like looking around. I was like, man, these people are embracing misery, and I don't know, something pissed me off a little bit that day. Or no, I got myself pissed off about it. That's the correct way of seeing it because I was the person who got pissed off about it. And I think like the last few weeks, that starts to that started to I started to notice that a bit. And Sunday night, so I'm on this bus. It's miserable. We're coming back home, and then I go out to a restaurant here, and it's actually a really nice restaurant. So I go for dinner solo, and I just start drinking wine, which I hardly drink. So and I'm like, had a couple of glasses of wine, then I come back up to my apartment. I'm like, you know what? Fuck the Balkans, man. I'm booking a flight out of the Balkans. I'm gonna go to Latin America for 2 months. So I booked a flight to fucking Madrid, which is the connection you get to Latin America from. I didn't book the rest of the flight, thank God, because it would have cost an absolute fortune. So I booked a bloody flight to Madrid in January, which I don't even intend on taking. So that's an interesting, yeah, it's just an interesting moment. I'm like, but I don't mind because what that tells me is like, okay, that's all right. That's a message from my unconscious. Like, don't allow yourself to get down. Also, don't start drinking and then get your credit card out. That's also another good tip. Um, but it's a good. I was talking about this with the guys in the entourage, and yeah, Christian mentioned is like, that's you gotta also bear in mind when you're drinking, it's your inner desires that are coming out, and I'm like, okay, noted. Note to self, I want to get myself back across to LATAM, which I will be doing, but not yet. Not yet. The mission is not complete. You don't just abandon missions just because you've had a shitty bus ride. That's ridiculous. So yeah. So those are my thoughts on Bosnia. Those are my thoughts on Bosnia. Great place. Would definitely consider coming back maybe this summer, although it's competing against other places I want to see, so I don't know if I will make it. Um, yeah, Banja Luka. We've got some inside tips from Banja Luka. Could swoop into Banja Luka around May time, end of exams. Could be dangerous. Um, but yeah, it's been awesome. So what else have I got here? Um, ooh, yeah, 1 year of cold approach. 1 year of cold approach review. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, SB, I passed your ultimate test. If you didn't start smoking here, you never will. I'll be honest, there's been a few times where when I'm working now, I'll put a piece of paper in my fingers like that. Yeah. There's been a few times where I've felt a slight a minimal 5% desire to smoke, which is obviously because of what I'm surrounded by it. Um, and I've probably smoked about 20 cigarettes like a week just from going to cafes. Yeah, but no, it just doesn't make sense, does it? It's just like whatever your issue is, inhaling carbon monoxide is not going to help your issue. So I just think it's just not good. Yeah, I'm a sporty guy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be fucking smoking. It's just fucking. It just doesn't make any sense. Ages you. Everything is just bad. Um, so yeah, what else did I have here? Yeah, coming up to 1 year calendar year of cold approach. So this is a this has been a lot of cold approach and a lot of like relationship type stuff. This channel, I think the direction is going to change actually in the new year because I'll still do bits and pieces on cold approach, but I have to be honest, it gets boring to even. There's not that much to actually talk about. It's not actually very interesting. It's actually fairly routine, fairly boring. So I don't know if I'll actually be able to make as much content, especially at my age as well. At 39, it's just less. I can see the guys in their 20s. It's like, wow, this exciting thing, women. At 39, it isn't quite as interesting. It's just kind of like, yeah. I'm always thinking about other things. So like, even if I meet a girl and stuff like that, it's just kind of like it doesn't really resolve any of the stuff I'm working on day to day. I've still got a lot of work things to think about. I'm still thinking about my travels. I'm still thinking about missions. So it kind of like this delusion that a relationship is going to be your salvation, or a one night stand or a sexual escapade is going to be some kind of a salvation. That's gone. That's gone. I hung on to that delusion for a long time, but it has gone now. Um, so that's been kind of interesting. But yeah, I've been doing daytime cold approach almost as a discipline, almost as a discipline. Um, so I started in Mayish, no, June 2023, I think it was, and then was approaching, yeah, 2023, UK, Brazil, Dominican Republic. Did a lot in the DR. And it's just an interesting thing to do to go over to people, to go over to an attractive woman in the street, stop her and say, hey, you look incredible. And then just watch her face go, what just happened? And then you start a conversation with her. It's just a really cool thing to do. It's a really cool thing to do. It's a very natural thing to do. It gets you back in touch with your animal nature as a man. So that's one reason I'd recommend everyone try it. Um, and also, it's quite nerve-wracking as well, especially as you start off, because it's just socially, it's like not exactly the norm, right? I mean, to put it mildly, it's not the norm. Um, so I think there's that aspect of it that a lot of guys, especially guys in the entourage, that's an aspect of it people enjoy. You're kind of breaking out of society a little bit. You're breaking out of the routine, head down, go on Tinder, drunkenly stagger up to a girl in a nightclub once a month. We're breaking out of that routine and we're just going, fuck this. We're human beings on earth. If I like the girl, go and talk to her. End of story. And most of the time, actually, it's actually really well received. That's probably the biggest lesson you can take from it. If anyone's watching this who's thinking about doing it, it's very rare that that's not well received. It's very rare. And even here in Sarajevo, this has probably been the place where occasionally you get those blank looks. Yeah. Or you get like a look of slight disdain, but that's pretty rare. That's pretty rare. That's much less than 1 in 5. And actually, those things after a certain point in time, you start to get a kick off that. You start to get a kick off the sort of like look of disdain, because you're just kind of like, it's just funny, to be honest. It's just funny. And all that is like, that's just getting you ready for 10 minutes later. You meet a girl who absolutely loves the fact you just approached her. And, you go and have a half an hour, 30-minute date with her. Maybe you even start going out with her. So the ups and downs, like they're all part of the process. They're all part of the process. And that's part of the maturity process. There was a guy commenting on my channel the other day who's like, actually was commenting on the fact that me and SB got flaked on. And I got very pissed off about it because I was like, it's not a flake. There's really no such thing as a flake. It's the nature of life. It's the nature of life. And anyone who thinks that there's no one on earth who is going out there and who is getting every single number of every woman you approach. In fact, if you are, you're not approaching enough. If you are, you're not approaching enough. When I was getting very high percentages, I was doing one approach a day. And actually, there was summer 2022 actually, when I first started doing it, before I met Christian. I was doing one approach a day, and actually it was like a Hail Mary. And actually, I pretty much would get most of those girls' numbers. But that's just one. If you're doing 10 approaches in a day, obviously you're not going to get all their numbers. It's just mental. So that's part of it, learning to season yourself to those responses which may pique your ego because you think you're the best guy of all time. And actually, that's part of it. The weird thing is, I found this in Belgrade. Like, I'd go out and do a little session, and one of the things was like one of the turning points for me. You have these weird turning points is when a girl I approached her at a crossing, and she looked like super scared and really like I was doing something absolutely horrific by approaching her. Like she looked both scared and disgusted at the same time. And I remember just being like, for about 35 seconds, 40 seconds, I'm like, okay, fine, no, this girl's fine. And I was actually quite pissed off for a few minutes. I was like, do I have like shit smeared on my face? It's really not that bad what I've just done there. It's fine. Yeah. And I was pissed off at her reaction to it. Like it was such an overreaction, right? But what I found was I got pissed off for about 40 seconds. And then I was just like, whatever. But that initial reaction that came up, even that gave me like a spike of dopamine, gave me like a spike of testosterone. Because it's like, yeah, you're alive. You just did an approach. You just got an extremely unfavorable reaction in front of loads of people. Yeah. You're alive, brother. It was like a spike, And so even that, about 5 minutes later, I felt that spike kicking in. Like I just had like 3 shots of espresso or something. I was like, wow, I'm buzzed. And so even now I've learned that even those responses, they actually, they can actually give you even better vibes than when you like have a really good interaction with a woman. So that's really interesting. It's almost like a, yeah, just like a tonic. Like you take a tonic shot, bang, like a shot of tequila. It's like, oh, it's disgusting, but then it gives you a kick. It's almost like that. So that's the stage I'm starting to get to now. And in fact, I think I got to it. I got to it that day in Belgrade. Um, the ups and downs of daytime approach, solo daytime approach. Um, so yeah, so this year I've done a calendar year of it, basically for self-development. I've done it in different countries. And essentially, like, one of the best things about it is when you speak to so many women, you really do understand. Ultimately, it's about personality. When you speak to so many women every month, yeah, you're going up to probably, depends on my peak months. I'd be doing 50 approaches easily a month, easily. Probably, yeah, probably, which doesn't sound that much, but like you do 10 approaches on a Saturday and then you do, no, probably more, probably 80 approaches a month, probably 10 on a Saturday and then another 10 during the week. My peak months, peak season. When you do that so much in so many different places, you start to actually view it as, wow, these chicks really are nothing special. They're really not special, not in a hateful way. Just like most of these girls who look very good on genuinely, I really would not want to be with. I'll approach them because they look good, but genuinely, I wouldn't want to be with them. And then even sometimes you go on dates and stuff like that, and you're like, wow, this girl's really got nothing. She's not interesting, man. This is really, it's not that interesting. And then other girls who, let's say a girl who's like, she's up there, she's fit, she's hot, but she's not the hottest girl that you've approached. And she's maybe not even the hottest girl that you've been on a date with, but you're interested in her personality. She's intelligent. There's just more to offer. And it's not even sometimes about intelligence, it's also just vibes. That's something you learn through cold approach. It's all right saying, oh, looks aren't all that important and all this type of thing, but it's actually, it's hilarious that these little people on the internet think being bald is like some kind of disadvantage. I'll just give you, yes, Namidian. A lot of women like bald men. Yeah, a lot do. A lot of them is their preference, to be honest. Um, yeah, it's a weird thing. I've been with girls who've said that they really fancy bald men. Uh, yeah, these people are quite special. Anyway, I'm going to kick him out anyway because I feel like that was just. I'll just get this guy out. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really wired. Yeah, so it's weird that people think that hotness is the only thing that matters. It's been sold in the culture. It's been sold in the culture. I think it's been sold to women a lot harder than it has, although it's starting to get sold to men as well. This so-called looks maxing, but it's been really sold to women that just being beautified is enough, or if you're hot, that's enough, and that's what you should aspire to, and that's all that men want. And I think to be honest, I think there's something in American culture which is basically, I think a lot of men have accepted they're not getting anything more than that. It's when you travel the world, you see how different cultures work. Um, yeah, there's countries where being hot is like that's barely a starting point. You have to obviously make an effort and look good, but that's barely even a starting point, you know? In some cultures, it's all of the other factors that come into play. Um, yeah, so that's one of the good things about doing a lot of approach, though, is you meet a lot of women and you're able to actually differentiate and distinguish. I think it's the way men should approach things. Like even when I was with my girlfriend last year, I would still approach, but I had no intention of sleeping with any of the women. I would just approach them so I could feel that hunting kind of kick, chat them up and whatever. And then all it actually did was make me appreciate the girl I was with 10 times more. Um, Now, if I was going around, I was shagging these women, then that does become a different question. That then becomes, mm, what are you actually doing here? What are we doing here? But I in my mind discipline myself, and all it actually did was working from her point of view. It worked in her favor. Um, yeah, best. So let's just have a quick look here. So Chrissy, yeah. So it's weird that people think the looks are all that matters. Yeah, we just discussed that. Dave Smith, you're really white. Brother, it is the Bosnian winter, dude. My tan is not really at its peak point right now. Um, yeah, it's interesting here as well. Like the girls out here are some of the whitest girls I've ever seen in Bosnia. I was really shocked. I thought they'd be much more Turkish looking. SB, we talked about why this was, but he explained it to me. But they're like white, my friend, like pure white, like the whiteness on my shoulder there, but even whiter. That's a bit creamy. These are like white with radiant blue eyes. I've never really, I've not really seen that type of look much in my life. The English girls are a little bit, the Anglo girls are a bit more of a dirty type of white, a bit of a creamy type of white. These girls are like pure. um, Balfour's, yeah, best girl from Cold Approach in my city is plain, best vibe in chemistry. That's it. That's it. Um, yeah. I think it's something I'm starting to realize as a man as well is you can go down the route of having a status symbol girl. And if you really get on with her, great. That's actually great. It's good for your ego. And I had a girl like this years ago, and it was like, it was kind of good for my ego. I felt good to be actually like to have her on my arm. But we also got on really well as well. There was a couple of issues in there that I probably let slide, but nothing crazy. Like she was a very good person. But was she like marriage material, that type of thing? I don't know. Probably not. But yeah. So it's like it's not that you have to have either or, but what is the value of a very hot girl who's irritating? It's a negative value. It's nothing. What's the value of a very hot girl who's just kind of she's basically nonplussed about you. She's just not really bothered. She's kind of she's interested, but she's not that bothered about you. That's not a lot of value to you in your life. You know, I'm not really interested in a girl who kind of half wants to show up. It's like, are you interested or not? You know, um, and then yeah, vibe, the indescribable thing of vibe. Um, I have a friend he's so hardcore on looks that I said to him, he was seeing these different girls and stuff. And I said, like, bro, which girl do you have fun with? Whose company do you enjoy? And I swear to God, his face was like, it was like he'd never ever considered this question in his life. And we were 37 at the time, it was a couple of years ago. I just remember his reaction, it just made me laugh. I was like, he never considered how he gets on with the girl. It was all about how fit she was, what the sex was like. That's all he considered. Um, yeah. Chrissy, I'm objectively not hot, and I have no problems finding men. I have sparkling wits and personality. Yeah, I can tell, Chrissy, you got good vibes even from your messages. Yeah, you should do a channel. You should actually do a channel because, um, well, you say you have no problems finding men. What about keeping them? Hmm. Hmm. Chrissy, what about keeping them? Well, I think it's good. I think it's good to. I think it's good for women to think along these lines anyway. Is to have what's your personality? The biggest thing, honestly, women. It's interesting. We've got like a female viewer here. I wasn't expecting to have any female viewers at all. The biggest thing a woman needs to think about if she wants to keep a guy is what is my offer to him objectively? Why should he invest in me rather than another woman? Men, we think about this. We know the game. We know how it works. in some countries, women have got their heads in the cloud. What is your offer for any woman? What is your offer? What you're offering? You're just offering a body. Okay, cool. Well, there's lots of women who've got bodies, so that's not really much of an offer. Body plus personality, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not enough. It's not enough, but it's good. It's a very good start. That'll be about it'll be 6 months, a year of time investigation. But even that, what practical offer do we have? What practical offer do we have? Is this girl going to support me in some way so that I can support her as well? In what way is she going to do that? Yeah, my my candidate, my requirements are very simple, but it's yeah, the girls in my country are not really interested in my requirements in general. But why can't you just make friends with women? Yeah, so was never tempted to sleep with a new one from approaching. Yeah, I did. So just to go back to Chris's question, I've made friends with loads of women, but you have to approach them first. It's a different. This is a cold approach channel, Chrissy. It's a different world to. We're pirates. We're pirates, love, and we're going around the world like, as international pirates. But yes, in response to that question, I have actually made friends with loads of girls through cold approach. Yeah, loads. In terms of actually making friends, no, who would just like to be mates with them for no particular reason. It's not really my thing. It's not really my thing, to be honest. I'm more hang out with guys, to be honest with you. And then if I happen to make friends with a girl, cool. But I'm not actively looking for that. Was it never tempting to sleep with a new one from approaching? Yeah, it was. It was definitely tempting. It was definitely tempting. Definitely. That's the point. That's the point. Is in depending on your age as well. I'm nearly 40. Yeah. I'm coming up to 40 years old in 11 months, or less 9 months. And I was 37, 38 doing all this approach. At a certain point in time, you have to actually. I'm going to go into this in a lot more depth. Why is it men are so compelled to be players? Why is it? Is it just biology? It's actually not. I'm going to go into this in more depth. So the temptation, I began to see the temptation to sleep with. I began to see like the sleeping around lifestyle. I began to see it as weak, as weak. So before I would think it was cool, I think it was fun, it was pleasurable. I actually began to see it as weakness. At my age, in a younger guy, it's different. It's like, how much more experience do you need, bruv? What experience do you need? And I actually thought, let me deny myself these experiences. Let me actually go out, meet the girl, get the number, and then actually deny myself the experience. Yeah, it'll almost like as a masochistic practice. But you got to decide what you want to be. Like if the girl I was with, I was being solid with her. But I wasn't wifing her up necessarily, but I was just like, yeah, I'm going to give this a chance. I've had situations in the past where seeing a girl, or shagging all these other girls on the side, it just causes a fucking mayhem. There's no point. So see the girl, go do your approach, go do your shooting range, whatever you want to do, go be a hunter. But then just focus on this one girl and fucking ravage her. And that was like so good. It was such a good mode of existence. So, yeah, but I'm going to come back to that question of why men are wanting to be players, because I think this is all connected together. Jay, I'm from UK, mate. SB, Bogomils, we are, yeah. Never viewed women as people. Give me a break. Chrissy, come on. Yeah, obviously I view women as people. Chrissy, love, if you can start bringing this feminist nonsense to me, I'll kick you straight out. This is not a channel for that type of stuff. Oh, you're married. Oh, I thought you. Okay, mate. You're talking about my friend. I thought you were having a go at me saying I don't view women as people. Yeah, my friend. No, of course he views. this is what women don't understand, right? Of course, we view women as people, obviously, but there's an obvious there's I'm not going over to a girl in the middle of the day or in a club or taking her out because I'm just like, which is just a person. No, it's because I have a sexual biological impulse towards her. Yeah. Obviously, she's a person. Yeah. So those two things have to go hand in hand. You've got to have the sexual side. You've also got to have you've got to have the human side, obviously. Yeah. But it was more funny because he didn't care about the overall experience. He just cared mainly about the hotness and the sex, which is interesting. Yeah, he's got love and support, sparkling wit and personality. Yeah, yeah. My criteria is pretty simple, and it's open access really. The woman has to look as good as she can. She has to respect my time because I've got a lot of shit to do. Just respect my time. Don't waste my time with stupid things. Um, Cook and give me the best sex she can give me. Those are four things. That's it. Literally, that is it. That's my only four requirements. And you'd be surprised. Is you just do those four things, and I will take it really seriously. And what I'm delivering on my end is a lot. Is a lot. So yeah, I refuse to choose either ends. It will be looks vibe combined with a girl. Yeah, exactly. We don't need to choose exactly. It's got to be a combination. It's got to be a combination. Okay, I'm kicking this girl out. American girl, you're getting bounced off. I'm sorry. I offer 5 cows. Yeah, Richie. Yeah. Yeah, but this is what people, relationships are not transactional, but like, of course, there's a transactional aspect to it. If if I'm not like got to get in the real world. If I'm not go to Latin America and try telling your date you're gonna share the fucking bill. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. It's just not real. It's not real. It's called the division of labor. It's not a transaction. It's the division of labor. This is what American people just don't understand. Yeah, this audience is for international pirates. It's not for. It's not for. It's not for Americans. Sleeping around gets sad. Being a one fanny Danny takes being a proper man. I actually agree with that, Ben. I actually agree with that. A one fanny Danny. I like that. I like that. And this is actually going to bring me around to the point I wanted to make now. Yeah, which is yeah. Why is it men are going to be players? Why is it men are attracted into the player lifestyle? Why? Being very young, you just want to fuck, fine. But is part of the reason you're so driven towards sex because it's the only freedom you have? Is that part of the reason? I think it's part of the reason. The only place you're actually free is in the bedroom with a woman you just let loose with her. I think that's part of the reason. Like you put men in this prison world, and then their only outlet is literally that's not drug related and alcohol related or cigarettes. Their only outlet, the gym is not enough, man. The gym is just training. Their only outlet, realistically, to be free is sex. Their only outlet to actually express the hunt is women. There's a certain type of man who like they need freedom. They need the freedom to roam the plains. And I think women are like they're like an avenue in which that can actually be done. An avenue in which that can actually be done. I was just listening to a podcast earlier on. It's actually a very underground podcast, which it's yeah, it's a guy who's basically banned from every single platform, but he has very interesting takes on everything. But he was just talking about it's just something I've thought, but he was talking about a writer he was studying who basically said, in summary, the nature of man is fucking and fighting. It's love and war. And like if you look at old civilizations, a lot of the ethic is about love your woman and fight to the death. for your city. That's actually the nature of a lot of men. Not all men, but a lot of men. That's the very essence of who they are, is those two things. I think you can't paint all people in the same way. There's a lot of differences between people, but there's a big element of that. And then there's also obviously creative guys as well who maybe want more of an outlet for their creativity. So I do think the womanizing thing is escapism. It's an escapism. And actually, Ephraim talked about this on his video. I just caught a little bit of that as well. He said the girl he was with previously, he was smoking a lot of weed with her. And, they basically, he was just hanging out, shagging and smoking weed. And then he's out chasing girls. Again, this kind of is what I'm getting at, is those to me are symptoms that you're looking for more freedom. You're looking for, maybe it's an escape. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like the difficulty of living in the modern world, modernity. And so you need these other escape routes out of it. But I think if you've got other things, I've noticed the more I've built other things this last couple of years, external to work, the less I'm bothered about chasing tail, the less magnificent it all seems. But that's also off the back of a lot of problems as well. You run into a certain number of problems, and it's just like, how many times do you want to crash the car before, yeah. So yeah, sleeping around gets sad. Being a one fanny Danny takes being a proper man. Yeah, I kind of agree with this. Love your woman and fight for your city. I think that's a much more noble attitude we need to bring back. We've got all this harem player shit going on. Everyone wants to have a harem. That's not actually real. Yeah, the sultans who had those harems. Okay, great, but we're not sultans, are we? Did you kill 6 of your brothers in the imperial fight when your dad died? And then, like, do you routinely go and impale people in Bulgaria? Yeah. Do you send emissaries to Serbia to threaten them if they don't stop worshipping the cross? You're going to come and impale them all. Right? We're not Sultan Mehmed, right? So, like, yes, they had harems, the imperial harem, but that's just not fucking real, is it, for most people? And I don't see how you can sustain that on a material level, on a basic material level. You see all sorts, but I just don't think these things are that sustainable. I remember seeing a guy in Sheffield. He was dating 2 girls. I would say I would say he was hot. He was probably good looking enough to have probably got slightly fitter girls than those 2, but he had 2 of them. Let's say they were like a 6. They were 5s who got themselves to a 6 through effort. Fair enough, and he was maybe a 7.8 or something. Yeah, he was dating these 2 girls, and they were going out together. I'd seen them in my coffee shop, and they'd arrive together, and it was fairly cool to see. But they were very hippie-ish, They were obviously very experimental. So that's that type of guy, But gaslighting from Chris. Yeah, I know. Fuck these American women. I'm just not interested. Like, but she actually seemed cool, but yeah, I don't give a shit about her opinions, to be honest with you. It's whatever, not bothered. Gary, cold approach don't work, brother. It doesn't work, brother. You tell that to my girlfriend, it doesn't work. Gary, brother, I will kick you out. I am so brutal on these streams where I see people's comments. It's just annoying. Gary, go and watch my other channel. Go and watch Christian Casanova's channel, and go and watch a guy called Pool University. Cold approach definitely works. It doesn't work for you because you're probably not very good at it, but it does work. Yeah, it does work. And even cold approach, like even a club is still cold approach. It definitely works. Yeah, exactly. SB. So yeah, so like, why is it we have that desire to be players? Gary, get the fuck off my channel, you little pussy. Sorry, dude, you're gone. This is a channel for killers, my friend. You're out, dude. Sorry. Yeah. It's just all kill. I'd rather speak to 5 people. I'd rather honestly speak to 5 people on the channel who are actually cool guys, like the Entourage guys in SB. I don't care. And this channel's also it's also going to go. This one, I'm not talking about anything too controversial, so this is going to go onto my main channel as well. I've actually been thinking. There's some stuff that even there's some stuff that I can't even talk about, possibly even in the Entourage. Some of my dating experiences. I'm actually thinking maybe I should do some type of underground podcast, which is like on like some fucking platform with like some weird. I've been looking into it, where you're basically like untraceable, this type of shit. Because there's some stuff that I certainly can't share on any internet video because it's just too crazy. Um, Vlad the Impaler was allegedly good at cold approach, mate. Vlad was a monster, dude. Vlad was a monster. Um, yeah. Uh, I've been to his place, man, his crib. Um, over there in Romania. I might go back later this year. It's I don't know if it's the type of place you go back to, to see multiple times over. But I went a couple of years ago. It's impressive, to be honest. I met a I met a US American intelligence academic in Romania, and I met her on a trip to Vlad the Impaler's castle. Yeah, it's a true fucking story. I started meeting up with her. Man, she gave me a lot of info about everything going on in Ukraine. Like, she gave me a lot of info. Um, there's a big bleed in American academia into the intelligence services. They're kind of almost, go hand in hand in a way. So she was out there doing research on, is it the Black Sea or something, security in the Black Sea or something. She was in Romania for a bit, and then she's going around other places. Um, and then yeah. So this is a theme from the live that's gonna go up, a later date. Um, yeah, the inner man within you wants to hunt. It wants to hunt. It wants to be free. I think I think if you put man in his natural conditions, in more tribalistic conditions, I don't think the urge to be a player is as big. I think you probably get your woman, especially after a certain age. You just get your woman and your kids, and you want to focus on that, and then you want to focus on fighting your enemies and like harvesting like food and hunting boar and stuff like that. And yeah, you maybe you only live till 30, but like what a life, like the American Indians and stuff. Um, so I do wonder, and it's like the question is, what can you actually do? It's all right, like fantasizing, oh, I want to go back and be a native Indian, or I want to be a noble in a Greek city-state. Yeah, okay, great. That doesn't help us right now though. So what do you actually do to kind of satisfy these instincts, these deeper instincts in us, in a way which is not destructive to our lives in modernity? And I think that's a massive question. That's a massive question. If you look at the stuff people are into, it's like message retracted. If you look at things we're into in modernity, a lot of stuff like, think about MMA. It's gone from being nothing to the most popular combat sport in the world. And it's like, what is it? It's two men getting into a cage, battering each other. Yeah. And it's like, you watch that fight, everything stops, everything's silent. You hear a pin drop. Because we know in our instincts, it's something that's important from our ancestral past. So that'll be one. And then obviously there's like endless sex coming into our brains through the internet, through porn, even through Instagram now. I think Instagram is just, whenever I log in, I find it really actually depressing to see the women, just how they're begging for attention and stuff. It's just like, I don't know, fucking weird. So we've got sex and violence and all this type of stuff. But like actually getting a bit of a kick out of that stuff in your life in a way that's not going to derail your life, I think is like one of the keys to modern living, because it's nicer overall to live in a flat than it is in a swamp or on the plains. I don't know, a Greek city-state could have been pretty good unless you were a slave, which was 30% of the population. Um, so yeah, that's something like, and I think I instinctively try to do that, like through training, through shooting, through cold approach. That's like the primal side of life. That's like, okay, that's taken care of a little bit. Doing some creative pursuits as well, and then I can like go to my job and be cool. I'm good. I'm good with my job. I'm sorted. Well, I think the guys who get bitter and miserable, and especially in my profession, they're people who they're people who they don't have those outlets, and maybe they don't even accept that in themselves. They don't even accept those characteristics in themselves. Um, it's like it's neither good nor bad. The fact that you've got deep down, you've got like a violent hunter inside you. In most cases, most men have got something of that in them. That's neither good nor bad. It's a simple product of our evolutionary past, and that's not going away. So you may as well harness it. Um, and I think some guys are able to harness it into business as well. My business is a very non-aggressive kind of business, so I can't harness it into my work. That would just be like atrocious. So, you know, I would be out of business, potentially even worse than that. So it's not the place to harness it. I need to harness it in other areas. What else have we got here? Yeah, so those are the main points I wanted to make. I wanted to do a review of Bosnia, and then I wanted to do a review of 1 year of cold approach. Then I wanted to go into a little bit more depth of why are men wanting to be players? Is it just the sex? At a certain point, yeah, but at what point? Like, it's the hunt, it's the freedom. Is it because that's missing in other areas? You know, that's a question I've got. I think I went into a little bit there. Was there anything else? I mean, just to go back to the 1 year of cold approach, I'm at a point now where I truly, I can see the guys like Balthus and Richie, they're in their first year. I've gone past the year, I'm at the 17, 16, 17, 18 month mark now. I've literally got to a point where I truly don't give a shit what happens. Even if in the moment I feel a bit this way, good, I feel bad, I don't care. I've truly got to a point where I just don't care. I just don't give a shit at all. Oh, great, I had a dog cold approach threesome. Great. Oh, she cursed me out and then called the police. Great. Whatever. I just don't care. I might care in that moment to moment. So I'm not saying I'm completely stoic and there's no emotional flickers. Of course there isn't. Sometimes it's quite big. But the overall picture, when it's said and done at the end of the day, and I just don't care. I just don't care anymore. Because nothing in my life is actually going to be changed by any woman coming into it on a particular level. It's not really going to change anything. Um, so yeah. Yeah, it's more strict than woke culture. Yeah, I actually, you know what it is it's not yeah, it's basically just like if people I'm not going to get on with, I'm not going to self-censor myself for people, so I'll just kick them off. It's like you're not in the right place, love, yeah? Let's not try and be friends, okay? I'm sorry. This channel ain't for you, yeah? It's for international pirates. um yeah. Uh Carrie was a troll. Yeah, you tried to troll him back. Yeah, anything before 1950s is all right. Yeah, you're talking about the different time periods. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, was there anything else? Was there anything else? Yeah, and then I mean, just winding up, heading to Istanbul, heading to Istanbul tomorrow. So looking forward to that. I probably will do some approach in Istanbul, but I'm just kind of like, I just don't really care. Probably just do some compliments and stuff. I'm meeting my mum out there and a friend's coming out as well, so I'd just be sick to me to especially spend time with my family like in Istanbul will be incredible. Um, my family's never really managed to come and meet me on any of my travels, so this will be a great opportunity. Um, yeah, and we'll see what the Red Pearl brings. I'll do some history videos. I'll do some shooting videos. Um, yeah. When were you there, Richie? We might have been there at the same time. I was there in April 2023. I was in Istanbul. Um, yeah, it's a great city. I find the internet isn't so good. Actually, that's one thing I need to do. I need to get that tonight. I need to get the oh, wicked. Yeah, that's awesome. I need to get myself the internet sorted. I can buy that in advance. You can buy like a package in advance. I'll do that tonight. And then because that was a problem for me when I was out there previously. It's a problem for me. Um, yeah. So is there anything else? Yeah, and I'm thinking, yeah, should I do an underground little podcast where I just go, this is white hot material, like way too hot for YouTube, way too hot even really to put in the group messages in Entourage. But if anyone wants to listen in, that's something I've been thinking about because there's some stuff in my locker which is fucking white hot, dude. It's white hot. Um, like the true underground piracy files, the true like nighttime cold approach, man. Some of the shit that goes down. I think Balthus knows some of this shit because he's talked about like essentially pulling women on the um it, it it's a style which forgoes all social niceties. That's what I will say about it, and it's very physical. So stuff like I don't think this is necessarily helping guys to it's to talk about some of these things, but yeah, it's very physical. Um, I think that's something we could probably improve on a little bit. Um, I think Ephraim said he kissed a girl today on the street, so I think I'm going to try and watch the rest of that live at some point because I'd like to see how he transitioned into that from the street. Um, I think it probably more than anything is probably a mindset shift, but actually getting physical, like you know, you can be getting physical with girls in clubs and bars and stuff. You kind of should be really. Um, but yeah, at the most extreme end of that, um, I've got the fucking crazy stories on that front. Yeah, this isn't the approach. Yeah, yeah. Ephraim approached someone and pulled her straight away. I think that's what it said on the title of his live. So I need to watch back on the details. But it definitely can be done. It definitely can be done. I felt it a couple of times that I actually bottled going in for the kiss, which I just didn't do. But it can definitely be done, 100%. Um, and this is why I'm very cautious about thinking that we've all got all the answers because I don't think yeah, exactly. So you've already done it, but I don't think we've got all the answers. I still don't think we've got all the answers. Um, like I'm pretty well. It's also from people I've seen as well who are not part of the entourage who are just kind of like mentally ill. Why you all oppressed Americans? Idiom, do not test me. I've already thrown about 6 people out of this chat. um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, it'll be interesting to just get myself over to Istanbul. But yeah, as far as approach goes, I'll just do bits and pieces. Am I going to do? I don't know if I've got the big approach sessions in me anymore. I'm starting to feel very apathetic towards it. Just kind of like I don't really care. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, whether you get there or you don't, like, it doesn't ultimately matter. But I just feel like there's probably more we haven't discovered in this art form yet. Um, yeah. I think like someone will come along and go, yeah, just and honestly, I was actually like a fan of Tom. I actually liked him. I liked his style because he's a guy who makes things happen. And the guys who make things happen, like, do you know what I mean? that's what we're there for. So I was actually a fan of him, but it would be someone like that or somebody of that ilk who'll come along and be like, yeah, I pulled a day game threesome like within an hour, something like that. That's actually people don't think it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. Someone's probably no, someone will have done it. Actually, someone will have done it. Um, a session before you disappear to the Afro. So you're going to Egypt, Balthus, right? You're going to Egypt. I was even yeah, he's alive. I might message him actually. Um, he's like a legend of the entourage, the caveman. Um, a few of these guys like faded off though. There was another guy, Lucas. He was awesome. I don't know what happened to him. He burned for not very long, but he burned very bright, and I thought he was going to be like absolutely like. I thought I was like, oh, he's going to be one of the main guys, in the sense that you know, he just had such a good energy about him. He was so positive. Um, and like I thought he looked really cool as well. Like he had a really good look to him. I was like, man, this guy would wreck in cold approach. Like, yeah, yeah, he's still in there. Yeah, he's still in there. Um, maybe secretly watching it live. Lucas, drop us a line, bro. Drop us a line. Um, Egypt, you're gonna hit the Moors as well, mate. Godspeed, brother. Egypt game, mate. Just get us a few vidskis of that one. Just private entourage only. Uh, yeah, those girls like the forbidden fruit. Dude, Moroccan girls are fucking freak shows as well. I've never been with one, but every time I approach one here, they're just like so. You can see it in their eyes. They're just like so ready to go. Um, yeah. Um, my experience with Muslim women who are from those countries is you can be quite low key with it, and they will still get the message. They'll still definitely get the message. Um, that's one of the things I actually like about Islam is they actually do have a realistic appraisal of men and women, which is why, but their response is to cover the women up, which is like at least it's a sign of the realistic understanding of the nature of man and woman, as opposed to just thinking, oh, we're just gonna be your friends and sing around like fucking put daisies in each other's hair. It's like, nah, dude. Men and women are here to fuck. They've always been here to fuck. Problem is, if we have big civilizations, you know, things can get a bit too messy. There's too many of us all together. Um, yeah. So actually, in a way, I do quite like their recognition of the reality, men and women. Um, and they also understand the reality of violence in their history as well. Like obviously now they've gone down a route of it's a religion of peace and all this type of thing, and it's like the Sultan, like Sultan Mehmed, he would actually be insulted by that. He'd actually be insulted. He would genuinely be insulted by that. He would see it as a religion, partially a warrior religion. So it's interesting. It's interesting how the modern world is shaping everything. Um, yeah, the real Egyptian girls can't be approached in the streets. Yeah, yeah, I'd focus more on tourists. Even in Turkey, I'm going to focus more on tourists. I'll chat to some of the local girls who've got very beautiful energy to them in some cases. I always remember one girl who sat next to me in a cafe, beautiful girl, and this cat like walked across me and then onto her, and then we started talking. It was like a fucking scene. I felt like I was in Aladdin or something. It was a beautiful cafe, this beautiful girl with this veil, and then like this fucking cat walking across me and then onto her. Fucking hell. Her energy was like certain girls with those types of energies. I'm like, man, if I got with you, I'm done. It's literally game over. I would not be able to take any other woman into any type of consideration at all. Some women have that vibe, which is, um, I met one girl like that in Serbia, and I can see it instantaneously, straight away. Um, Part of me as well. I've never actually have I got with a girl with that type of vibe? Yeah, maybe once or twice, but not often. Part of me is kind of like I've almost self-eject from sometimes from those types of women because I'm like it's fucked up. I'm like I'd rather get with a girl I like a little bit less because then I'm not going to get trapped. That's some interesting psychology right there. Um, where their energy is so radiant, you're kind of like, nah, this is a joke, bro. I'm I'm in on this. Um, it's like it's pure female energy that's unadulterated. And actually, they're mostly I found those girls are mostly they're not from these like very cerebral types of countries or just very weird countries like America. They're usually from like places like Turkey, places like the DR, places like Africa, Middle East. It's much more an unadulterated type of feminine. Well, maybe not the Middle East, but like yeah, Turkey's good though. Turkey's good. Um, so yeah, my my tyrannical regime on my YouTube live continues. Absolutely zero tolerance. I don't want to be explaining things to people. Um, I'm not looking for viewers particularly. I'm seeing I saw a guy actually I saw a video a guy who was talking about personal brands and stuff like that. That's like for the most part, there's actually nothing personal about personal brands because if you're always selling something, by definition, um, there's it's hard to be truly like authentic. I think Christian does a pretty good job of it, but um, for me, because I'm not selling anything, I don't give a fuck. I just kick people off the live. It doesn't matter. Um, but it's more like a vehicle of self development, self understanding. It's been really good. It's been really good. I'd recommend anyone start a YouTube channel and just video yourself walking through the street. Get used to practicing talking online, um, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I think there's a lot of benefits that come from it, and you've probably got more to say than you think. You've probably had more experiences than you think. Um, so for me, it's just a pure tool of self development. It's really good self development. Um, so I'm trying to do one live a week. That's why, because I know I can't do one tomorrow. So I thought, let me try and do one tonight. Um, so, boys, do we have any further questions? We've had some great comments. This has been a very enjoyable live. Unfortunately, yeah, I am a tyrant. I am the Sultan of the Sultan Mehmed of. I'm worse than the Ottomans, mate. My lives are just tyrannical, brutal dictatorships. Yeah? If I could, I would actually impale some of these commenters, but I don't have that power. So, right, boys, we will leave things there. Peace and love. We've gone over an hour. I'm gonna go and buy a Turkish SIM card online, and I will next time I catch you guys, I will be in Istanbul, the Red Pearl. I'll be following in the footsteps of Constantine the Great, Mehmed II, and all of these complete G's. Peace and love, boys. Peace and love. Take it easy.